Hello, everybody out there in YouTube land. I have another home hacks for you, volume 3 this time. This one I think could be very important for a lot of folks out there. Maybe you already know some of these things, maybe you don't, but I think it's interesting if you really approach your home kitchen um, from almost like a chefy perspective. You know, that's what I do. Obviously, I can't help it because I'm a chef, but if you pay more attention to what you're doing in the kitchen in every respect. Like you're going to have a better dining experience overall. You're going to enjoy food overall. Your health is going to get better. Today, though, we are discussing very particularly not your health so much, but your wallet. All right. So what we're going over today is budget-friendly shopping. Now, whether you are Donald J. Trump or Donald J. Broke, I feel like this home hacks volume could be one of the most useful for all the people out there because we're going to talk about how to save money. And I think everybody likes to save money. And I'm going to give some specific examples and then just some broad pieces of advice, right? So let's dive right into it. First thing is talking about your overall budget. Leave a little bit of wiggle room in your budget, okay? For example, if your budget is $100, let's just say $100 a week. Mine is less than that, but let's just say $100 a week. Plan on spending, say, 90 or even 85. What this allows for is sort of contingencies that you may encounter in pricing, or for example, a little bit of spontaneity. If there was something that wasn't on your grocery list, it's kind of calling your name, and you, oh, yeah, I got that. Or if something that's not on the list is on a great sale, for example, oftentimes in grocery stores they've got significant discounts on meat or other items. And say for example, you spent your 90, and then there's an extra, like there's this big hunk of meat that's $10, but you normally would be $20. Then you can buy that, and then next time you go around, you'll have $10 extra to spend. So anything you do that requires a budget, not just food, but anything you do, you should figure out how much money you have to spend, and then your budget should be maybe say 10% less than that. And if you can go under that, it's even better. Now, in relation to that, um, if you can go under a little bit, it also enables you to save money for occasional splurges, which are great, particularly when holidays are involved. Say, um, for example, if in the say 2 to 3 months leading up to Christmas or Thanksgiving, instead of spending $100 a month, you spend $75 or per week rather. If you did it for 2 months preceding Thanksgiving, Christmas, or say like an anniversary or a birthday, um, this would put, if you had a $25 per week, it's $100 per month, so there'd be $200 extra in your pocket after 2 months, right? And that would make a significant dent in the acquisition of your holiday provisions without making any dent in your wallet. So depending on the size family you had, say for example you did that for 3 months, that'd be $300. You could probably pay for your Thanksgiving with that. Just saying, right? Use the old noggin a little bit. You can also look at it this way: if your budget's $100 a week and you spend $90 a week, um, or whatever your budget is, say drop $10 off of it, and you can do this, and I'll explain how. You could save, that would be a savings of $520 per year, which again, you can use that on anything you choose, or you could donate it to clever YouTubers whose opinions you really value. I don't know. Secondly, and this is something that's a very chefy thing to do. We don't necessarily expect people to do this, but it can very much help streamline your budget and your bottom line. And it's a good way to be a concerned citizen and really sort of reduce your stamp on the environment. And that's monitor and record your waste. Again, I don't think that's something that people think of a lot, but may even seem trivial or unnecessary, but it'll help you plan and it'll help you budget more effectively. And again, you'd be astounded at how much you throw out, how much you waste. And as Americans, we probably do way too much of that. So, limiting waste is a great way to be a good global citizen. And it's a good way to streamline your budget. What I do is I put a little list on the side of my fridge. It's kind of like a little spreadsheet thing. And every time something goes in the trash can, just write down what you threw away and how much you threw away. And then at the end of the month or however long of a period of time, calculate how much money that was. And then you can sort of get an idea over a period of time how much of what you need and when you need it, and how much of what and when you don't need, and you can adjust your grocery list accordingly. and you can freeze things, or God forbid, maybe give something to a homeless shelter. Not the worst idea, right? But anyway, um, it will help you out, and it will show up on your bottom line, right? So next, and I say this is probably the most important. We're going to go through a real specific example here, and that's to know your ingredients price-wise, and to know the grocery stores in which you shop. That includes farmers markets. Engage in direct pricing and brand comparisons, and the results may really surprise you. I mean, using store brands or generic brands, or like hitting up the dollar store for certain things, the quality on a lot of items is very similar, and the price for generic or store brands is always better. So, we'll go through some examples in a second, but I'm going to use, this is a real example, which I actually use. Okay, and this is not just made up or fictional or allegory or anything like that. This is the way I shop. Um, Before I go to work, I usually eat pasta salad. It's boring, but that's what I usually do. It's got carbohydrates, a little bit of protein I put in there. It gives me energy throughout the day. Blah blah blah. So, although the ingredients vary, for today's example, we're going to assume that the ingredients are roasted red bell peppers, grilled chicken breast, black beans, shredded mozzarella, some fresh basil, and a balsamic vinaigrette. Okay, and that's not far off from what I usually do. In fact, sometimes that's exactly what I do. Certain brands of pasta can cost you up to, I don't know, about $2.50 for like the top end, like imported Italian ones, right? That's for like a pound box. So antithetically, if you go to the dollar store, you can buy, or even at the big box stores, if you buy the store brand or generic brand of pasta, you can buy about $1, sometimes even less than $1 for the same amount of pasta, right? And really, if you can, I challenge you to tell the difference, like once they're cooked. If you can tell the difference between the two, you've got a better palate than I do. So next, moving on to chicken breast. At my local, I'm not going to say the names of these places because I don't want to disparage them, because I do shop there, but what's called the big chain store. I use chicken breast usually. Sometimes I use boneless, skinless chicken thighs because I like the flavor, and they've actually got more nutrients than chicken breast. Yeah, they do. Chicken thighs are not bad for you folks. Chicken breast usually about $1 a pound more than at my little local place down the street. And again, quality is the exact same. Black beans. It's about a 14-ounce can of beans you normally get, little cans. And again, they can be as much as $2, maybe even a little bit more. However, you can buy big, huge ones, but you can buy small bags of black beans, dried black beans, which I think are 2-pound bags. You can get them for as low as $1. Again, at the local, it's like a Latin sort of food mart that I go to. And once you cook those black beans up, the pound, it gives you roughly about the equivalent of 4 of those cans, right? So that's 25 cents per can, whereas I'm paying $2 per can if I buy it ready-made, right? Roasted peppers, same kind of thing. The amount I need for my pasta salad for a 5-day work week is one of those bigger jars of roasted red peppers. Some are sliced, some you have to slice yourself, but those are usually about $5, right? Fortunately for me, one of the 3 main groceries I go to almost always have some sort of bell peppers for about $1 a pound. Sometimes it's the green ones, but a lot of times it's orange or red ones, strangely, but that's a good thing. So I usually use about 2 pounds, pound and 3/4, 2 pounds of raw red peppers, and I roast them and slice them myself, right? In terms of the cheese, same deal. You get, again, I'm not going to mention specific brand names, but for an 8-ounce bag of shredded, let's just say like mozzarella I think we said for this example, 8-ounce bag of shredded mozzarella for the top name brand can be as much as $5. It's usually between $4 and $5, right? When it's not on sale. But the local brand, which I use, is almost always 2 for $4 at the store that I go to for the same amount. And again, the difference is imperceptible. So there's no reason not to use the cheaper one in this case, right? Same idea applies for the dressing. Now my favorite pre-made dressing is actually kind of expensive, and sometimes I do use it when I'm feeling lazy, but it's about $4. I think it's an 8-ounce bottle, right? So that's pretty pricey, but it's good, In this case, I can't stand the cheapo knockoff stuff. I just think balsamic vinaigrettes and Italian vinaigrettes are terrible. So what I do is I make it at home. Quality olive oil and balsamic vinegars are available for not too much money, and I can produce a really good dressing at home for about half of the store-bought price, and that dressing will usually last me for 2 weeks, if not more. Okay, so last is the basil. This is kind of a curveball you can throw in there, but we all know from going to grocery stores that fresh herbs are expensive, right? Even those tiny little packets of basil, now you buy I think like a 1 ounce or 2 ounce packet, can be like $2 to $3 or $4. I think usually about 2 or 3 bucks. For that same price, you can buy a basil plant. Obviously not in the winter, but in the summer months, and if you live in a warmer climate, um, you have basil for a $3 investment. You have basil for until the growing season ends, right? So just think about that. Fresh herbs, mint grows like gangbusters. Rosemary, basil, you have to kill a basil plant. I mean, they're very resilient. Um, Parsley, cilantro, anything you want to grow, but definitely like basil, mint, and rosemary are super easy to grow, and you end up using them a lot, right? So, for 1 week's worth of pasta salad at the big chain store, I would spend roughly between 20 and 22 bucks, right? However, by doing a little bit of research, comparison shopping, and actual cooking, at home, I reduced that to about 10 or 12 bucks, and that's real. I really do that. So that's a real savings of about 10 bucks a week, which would save you again over 500 bucks a year. If you extrapolate that to 3 meals a day, that's somewhere between $1,000 and $1,500 a year. That's the insurance on your car paid for just by frugal shopping right there. Okay. In the same vein, along a few more points. Sometimes it actually is cheaper to buy local. It may not seem like that, but keep in mind, like if things don't have to travel as far, those oftentimes are cheaper and fresher. So that's why I hit up farmers markets and just do some comparisons, and you'll feel good about it too. Because I mean, supporting local businesses is great. Next, I'd say buy in bulk when it's smart. This is especially true for things like meat and dried or semi-perishable or shelf-stable products like flour, oil, vinegar, pasta. If you buy more at the same time, you're going to pay less for it, right? And again, know your stores. If you go to an Asian store, for example, you can buy big, huge bags of rice for super cheap, and then just maybe split them up into smaller containers, little zip top or bags or something like that. And for meat, I'd say, in a restaurant setting, I don't really advocate freezing things, but for home cooking, it's very useful, and the difference in quality is not that much really, but it's very useful for padding the wallet. I like to buy things like pork shoulder, even lamb leg, ground meat, chicken, when it's on sale or just in bulk, and then you can break it down into smaller portions, wrap it up really good, put it in a Ziploc bag, freeze parts of it, or do something which we'll discuss in a second. Also, keep in mind that sometimes in the butcher's case at your local store, you're going to get a better deal than, again, I don't want to use brand names, but than some of the popular nationwide brands because, they pay extra for slick packaging, for shipping the stuff, and for advertising. So when you don't have to pay for all those three things, you're going to get a cheaper product, but usually it's similar quality, if not better, in your butcher's case. So go over that little glass case and check out what they have, and you'd be glad you did, right? So that whole section, I'd say, shop around, compare prices. You'll be glad you did, right? Moving on then. Meal planning, right? In order to save money, I'd say plan your meals. Carefully select meals, which I'm not going to go into too much health stuff here or even that much flavor stuff, but another example here, cross utilization. And this is a simplistic example, but it illustrates the point. And that's, say, for example, you've got an onion, maybe 2 onions, some bell peppers, a little bit of garlic, and some chicken, right? You could slice off the end of your bell peppers and dice the heel and the foot, I guess, whatever you call it, and julienne the rest of them. Same thing with the onions, and you could use the diced up parts to make like a stock for, say, gumbo. And you can make like a chicken gumbo, and then you could use and the same thing with, like, if you have a little bit of rice in there, right? The rice goes with the gumbo. You could julienne the rest of the stuff and have a really nice stir fry with just a little bit of additional ingredients from your pantry. So then you've got two very different meals using the same ingredients to stretch your budget out. So if you buy things a little bit in bulk, or if you plan your meals, you'll eliminate waste which means it's you're better, a more effective use of your wallet, right? So in future videos, we'll go over how to balance your meal plan and to increase your overall wellness in terms of, healthy qualities and that. But for now, we're just talking about the kind of green that goes in your bank account, which is also very important, right? So now that you plan your meal, you got to go shopping, right? Right. So most important thing here is, again, make a list when you go to the grocery store. And what I'll do is I try to assign uh, rounded values. So if I put onion, cheddar cheese, let's say ground beef, I'll write next to onion $3. I'll write next to cheddar cheese $3, and I'll write next to ground beef $6. Even though I know that the chances are when I go to the grocery store, it's going to be less than that. So it goes up to the top thing about the budget, which is when you make your list, specifically write down how much of everything you need, and then write down how much it's roughly going to cost you, so you know if you're reaching your target numbers there. This helps you focus, right? Allows you not to avoid sort of unnecessary purchases, and again, to eliminate waste, all of which are what you want to be doing if you want to save money and be a good citizen. Of course, now, I will say, reward yourself from time to time. All right, a little splurge, a little spontaneity. You deserve it for your diligence and your ability to spend money, and it's also good motivation. I know if I save up an extra $100, I can splurge next week and buy that big steak. You know, that's good. That's healthy. It's the way to go about things. You don't just want to be a abstemious jack all the time, right? Um, the last thing I'll say on this topic is avoid soda and snack foods and junk food. Not necessarily because they're unhealthy, which they are. If you want to lose weight, for example, and you're drinking a lot of soda, stop drinking soda, do everything else the same, and you'll lose weight. Um, but don't go grabbing all the pretty, shiny things, or it's going to show up on your bank statement and your hips too, right? They seem cheap, but if you look at the price tags of like chips and cookies and crackers and soda, it adds up pretty darn quickly. So maybe use the money for some fruit, or just, shop a little bit smarter, eat a little bit smarter. And again, your bottom line will thank you, and so will your tummy as well. Um, that's about wraps it up for this edition, I think. No more major points to discuss, but I think if you follow these basic precepts that we've just discussed, you'll find yourself enjoying your shopping more. You'll find yourself saving more money, and you will enjoy your dining experience quite a bit more. Whether you're a pauper or a prince, I think that you can benefit from this video. So yeah, go out there, save some money, buy some stuff, and enjoy your food. Thanks, and I'll see you next time.